If you want to save time and learn how to invest in real estate faster, go to investorthrive.com to master the sales process from our training so you can close more deals with less leads, even if you're only doing this part-time. Or if you don't know where to start and need help, give me a call at 385-398-9862 and let's chat. All right, what's going on, everybody? And welcome to the Investor Thrive Painless Wholesaling Podcast. We got my man, Brent Daniels. What's going on, Brent?
Let's go.
Yeah.
I am telling you, I'm so excited to be on here, Nathan.
Thank you.
You have been pouring into our Rhino Tribe community so much, teaching people your painless method. It's been absolutely bananas. People are going crazy for it in the private groups, in the Zooms that you do every Friday. And it's just absolutely incredible. So one, I want to thank you for pouring in. I think that people, it is so powerful when people start to understand when you're giving and giving and giving, the only thing that can happen is getting, right? And receiving, I guess, is probably the better term for that. And not keeping things quiet and being really, really loud and just trying to help out as many people as possible. One, it makes you feel better just as a human, but two, it increases your ability to network and squat up with people and JV and raise funds and find other opportunities that you never thought would be available. So thank you. Seriously, sincerely from the bottom. Yeah,
I appreciate you. And you saying that means a lot to me, because I will just tell you, since I started, I changed my mentality of scarcity mentality to like, obviously there's an abundance, right, to give out. My life has just been so much happier. I have fun doing what I do. And I've learned that from you. It looks like every day you're having a good time. You're just trying to give as much as you can.
Listen, this is the most exciting business that I can imagine. I mean, literally, you can start with $0. You can go and find an ugly house on the street in your community. You can go up to that door and you can knock on that door and have a conversation, or you could get their phone number free online and call them up and ask them, when do you plan on selling this property? And then all of a sudden that starts building the momentum. And then you find these opportunities, and hopefully in the beginning, you're selling them to somebody that's going to either put it in their portfolio or fix and flip or whatever else, if you're just starting out with a small budget, and build your big, heavy, healthy bank account so that you can do this business full time. Because once you do it full time, I'm telling you, it's just an incredible life. It's an incredible life. It's an incredible lifestyle. It's an incredible business to be in, whether it's an up market, down market, sideways market, flat, whatever it is. There's opportunities every single day. And I've, a great comment from Dolph DeRoos, who was Robert Kiyosaki's real estate mentor and coach, said the deal of a lifetime comes around about once a week. And that's absolutely right. It's absolutely right. So I love this business. I have a lot of energy for this business, and I love the people in this business. So
yeah, and I think you it just shows. It just shows that you're genuine, you love it. And it's really awesome. I love the TTP thing, the talk to people, because the thing is, like, that's how you get deals. You just got to get on the phone with someone and find out their situation. Like, what's going on? How can I serve you? Like, how can I be of help? And that's something that I've done that I really enjoy about this job is, look, I'm not trying to force you on like my offer of like my wholesale offer, my cash offer. I'm here just to see what you need, and let's see if we can work something out that's beneficial to you, right? To both of us.
Yeah, so I think it's important to understand three words when it comes to negotiating. All right. There's speed, there's convenience, and there's price. Okay. Right. Speed, convenience, and price. And in normal or down markets, the sellers only get to pick two. They only get to pick two.
Right.
And when people want speed and convenience, then they have to have a lower price. That's just the facts. That's how it shakes out. And so if you understand that, then you actively look for people that want to trade speed and convenience for price. And typically those are ugly houses. Typically those are people that don't have the budget to fix it up. They don't have the expertise to fix it up. They don't have the time to fix it up. And they just want to get rid of properties because it's a burden on their life. It's a burden on their mind. It's a burden on their schedule. And you know what I mean? People have things that they need to do, and they don't want to worry about properties. That's where we come in. That's the problem that we solve, is we give them speed and convenience, and they give us price. It's a fair negotiation at that point.
Yeah. And I'll just speak from personal experience. Like, I bought some houses in March, flipped them, listed them, like, right as the market shifted. And I myself am motivated, very motivated to get them. They haven't sold. and we're having to explore different options of taking it down, using it as an Airbnb or rental. So it's anyone can become a motivated seller in a second, right? Like,
Hmm.
so guys, if you're looking at properties on the MLS, if you're looking at, talking, you've maybe talked to someone that wasn't motivated like a month or two ago, things could change in an instant, right?
Yep.
So it's never judge someone and be like, that guy's rich. Like I did a deal a little bit ago. This guy was a multimillionaire, like wasn't struggling with the payments or anything, but he just didn't like the tenant, didn't want all that problem. He was like, look, I
Yeah.
got millions of dollars. Why do I gotta have this headache on my mind of a guy that's not paying rent? Right? He was a landlord. Multimillionaires don't want problems either. They don't want to have those issues.
Well, listen, Nathan, and I tell this story a lot because it's like it like just sticks in people's minds, and it's just wild, and it's a true story. We did a deal where a real estate broker, her name was Fran, a real estate broker, and I looked at how many properties she owned after I did the deal or after we locked it up, and millionaire. Free and clear, millionaire, easy on paper. You know what I mean? Not in her account, but like in the equity in her properties. And she had no heirs. Her brother just passed away. He had no heirs. She had nobody, like nobody was going to get these properties, right? And
Right.
so I went on this appointment because my acquisition manager's like, "Hey, you need to get out here and see if this person that I'm talking to is serious or just crazy." And so I go out there, and on Zillow, the properties were 220,000. Okay.
Okay.
Decent property, maybe needs $25,000 worth of work. I go there, she tells me, give me $9,000. This property's yours.
Dude, no way.
$9,000. Independently wealthy person,
Right, right.
broker for over 20 years. I said, listen, what do you think this property sells for in the market? She says 200,000, no problem. I
Mhm,
said, why are you giving me $191,000 worth of equity? She goes,
mhm.
oh, honey, I just want you to win. I just
I
want you
love
to get
it.
a really good deal. And I
Yeah.
want to sell it to a real estate investor. I don't want to put it on the market. And I just want you to win. Are
That was
you kidding me?
that's the ultimate go-giver.
Right? No, but I mean, like, you think about that and you think about, okay, I got it for 9,000. I sold it for 176,000 in 10 minutes,
Mm,
right? Like,
yeah,
that was from one conversation that I had.
yeah.
That's from one call that we made. We drove for dollars in that neighborhood, saw that property. It looked dated, not bad, but dated. And
Mhm.
we called her up, and now we're at this opportunity. And normally we would think to ourselves, nobody would sell that.
Right.
Nobody would do that. Why wouldn't she just get the 200,000? Why wouldn't she just take all that money and do something with it? She didn't want to.
Yeah,
She
exactly.
didn't want to. And you run into these opportunities. If you're consistent, you'll run into them at least once a year.
Yes.
And in our business, we get what we call massive deals, which are deals over 50,000 at
Mhm.
least once a quarter. The last couple of years,
Yeah.
we were averaging 50,000, but in a regular market, it's about once a quarter that you get these big, massive opportunities. And they
Mhm.
happen if you're proactive. They happen if you are obsessed with this business. They happen if you build a culture in your business of being wildly proactive and communicating, over communicating with all the leads that you have and all the potential prospects that you have. That's the name of the business. I look down at what is the seed of every single deal, Nathan. The seed is a conversation. The seed is a quality conversation
A
with a
TTP.
distressed property owner. That's it.
Yeah.
And statistically, 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in distress at all times. By the way, there's 143 million properties in the United States, residential real estate. 10% of that's 14 million opportunities every single year at all times.
Go get it. Everyone can go get it. You know what I really enjoy about that story is you had the yeah, I guess then not I don't know if it's so much integrity, but you said, "Hey, look, like you're giving me a great deal." Why you basically asked her like why, right? And
Yeah.
some I feel like some other people would probably be like, "Oh, maybe she doesn't know what this is worth. Let me just, lock it up." But you went out and just said, "Hey, look, you're giving me a great deal. What's going on here?" And I think that might have established some amazing rapport as well, right? Just to see,
Yeah.
hey,
Well, Nathan, you know as well as I do, like you can make all the money in the world, but if you don't sleep at night, your life is miserable.
right.
It is. You know what I mean? You got to be able to sleep with a clear conscience.
No,
And
it's
so you need to understand, is this somebody that just doesn't understand anything about this? Am I duping this person? I've never duped anybody in my life.
there you go.
And I'm not going to start now. You know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel right. It's just instinctually, it would just, it feels gross. It feels slimy, and you
Yeah.
just don't mess with that. So you try to be, well, listen, we're truth tellers and truth seekers. That's
Mhm.
all that we are. You know what I mean? So we go in and we ask really good questions to understand what is, can I help solve the problem here? Can I actually provide value to this person? And
Mhm.
if you can't, then you either move on or you refer them to somebody that can.
Yeah, and honestly, like, if you just whoever would've if someone else would've worked that deal and not said anything, imagine the anxiety that you would feel waiting to get to the close table. You might be like, "Oh, someone might give her a better offer. I better hurry up." But no, you're like, "Hey, you both were on the same page. You took it all the way, and
I
you
talked to her attorney. I talked to her priest. Yeah, I mean,
go."
because there wasn't any family and she was older. And so, I mean, she was
Mhm.
all there. I mean, she was very smart and knew what she was doing, obviously. But yeah, you trust but verify for sure on situations where there's no errors. But yeah, it's important to do those things.
That's awesome.
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to go out and try to convince anybody. One, it doesn't work. You can't
No,
convince anybody. We're deal finders, not deal creators. And
that's
that
right.
took me a long time to figure out, because I tried to
Yeah,
force, the square peg into the round hole a lot,
yeah.
and it doesn't work. We're
No.
deal finders, not deal creators. And if you talk to enough people, you're going to find those deals.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
I came from the door-to-door industry where you basically almost have to, like, force your way into the house and, close them there, because if you think about it, you're never gonna talk to them again. So, I came into that thinking that's how this business worked, and it's, the exact opposite. This is a consulting chat, find out what they need and present options, and then they decide. And there's honestly nothing more satisfying to me than to present their options and then them decide what makes sense, and it helps both of us, right? It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, it takes typically about 30 days to close. You're not gonna keep people involved in the transaction for 30 days if they don't want to be involved. So you really have to pre-qualify. You
Mhm.
really have to understand what their goal is with the property, and then you put together the price and terms. And then the last part of negotiating is, do they trust you? So you've
Right.
got price, terms, and you are the three parts of negotiating, and you need to make sure all of those are in alignment with their goals, or they're going to get wiggly and they're going to
Yeah.
cancel and they're going to disappear and they're going to ghost you and they're not going to show up for closing. So yeah, it's a nice kind of safety net to make sure that we're doing all the right things, and
Yeah.
that real people that build skills in this business and build a company around the skills of serving people that own these distressed properties, that's who wins. And that's who wins when the market shifts,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
No.
it's been cool. It's been real easy selling deals the last couple of years, but when the tide goes out, it exposes a lot of things. And if you don't have skills, if you don't have the skills of effective communication, if you don't have skills of pre-qualifying, if you don't have skills of lead follow-up, if you don't have the skills of an offer presentation, and then taking that deal all the way to close, you're not going to survive in this business. So learn those
Exactly.
skills, and you're going to feel bulletproof, and you're going to feel very confident. You're not going to worry about what's going on in the news or what's going on in the economy. You just worry about what you can do. And that's the important thing. And I think also, Nathan, when you build skills, people can't take those away from you, right?
Mm-mm.
You could get a divorce, lose a lot of half of what you have, right? Or whatever, even more. You could get
That's right.
sick, and things happen. You can get injured and things happen, right? You can make a bad investment and get crushed, but you're not crushed for long if you have skills. That's the important thing. And we've been living in a world where real estate didn't really require a lot of skills. It just required getting a property under contract and selling it to the unbelievable amount of buyers out there. And when
Right.
those
Yeah.
buyers shrink up, the people left with the skills win.
Yeah, and the skill set that, as we've talked about with the reverse wholesaling, the painless wholesaling, is the skill set of connecting with buyers, earning their trust, and then getting them what they need, right? Because, if you call me, if you're a new wholesaler and call me, "Hey, Nate, what can I find you?" I might not have the time or the energy to just tell you exactly what I want. So you got to kind of gain that trust, provide value, right? Show them that you're capable.
100%.
So Brent, we went and started ripping into this podcast. And I love it. That's just the energy we both bring to this industry and like how much we love it. But I kind of wanted to ask you
Yeah.
about the origin, like, because I've seen you around when I first got into wholesaling. I saw you, doing your thing, and my thought was, how did you get your start? So that's kind of what we want to dive into. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think as all of us entrepreneurs have like a weird seed in our brain where we want control. And I
Mm,
think that most of us probably have a problem with authority or being told what to do. Honestly,
right.
I honestly think that, and I think that that stems just from my childhood. Every night, my parents, we'd say our prayers. They'd
Mm,
tuck me into bed, and they'd say, "You're the best, Brent," and I'd have to say, "In the whole wide world," right? And I think that
wow.
just like the confidence that I had and just kind of like feeling maybe it's a firstborn thing. I don't know. I
Mhm,
don't know, psychologically where it stems from, but my parents had a rule: you could work or you could play sports. And
wow.
so I was pretty good at sports growing up. And so I never had a job. And so I'm in college. I have a
What
scholarship
did
for
you play, by the
football.
way? Oh, football?
What's that?
What did you play? Was it, I think you said football?
Football, yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
played football at Northern Arizona University, and
Wow.
great time. It was fantastic. But as you're 2021, you're like, okay, college is going to be over.
Mhm,
This thing's basically just kind of training me to get like to be good at a resume and to be good at like a cog in the wheel. And it just I never was interested in it. My brain would literally just shut off. So
right.
I was like kind of just floating out there. And my best friend Mike Mahoney, who was in the hall down the way here, works in my company.
Amazing.
You know Mike, yeah.
Love that.
He
Mike's a
gave
great
me
guy.
his dad gave him Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he
Mhm,
gave it to me. And I read that, and my mushy brain was changed forever. And I was like, that makes sense, right? Like rich dad owns businesses, poor dad works for other people. Okay, well, I'll own a business. And I was like,
mhm,
well, how do you do that? So I was like, well, I guess I'll get my real estate license. That's what you have to
mhm.
do when it's 2003. And so I went to real estate school during the summer of college, and I passed the test and I got my license. And right out of college, I became a real estate agent.
Wow.
And fortunately for me, it was 2004-05. It was fantastic.
Mhm,
And I was, right out of college helping friends and family sell their house. But that's not what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to be an investor. I wanted to own the assets. I wanted to have a big portfolio. I wanted to, find these incredible deals that, these books were talking about. And I just didn't know how that was because Rich Dad Poor Dad is fundamentally just the most impactful book that we have in our industry in real estate, but it's
right.
not an instruction manual.
It's
It's
not.
not a this is how you go and get deals and how you lock it up and in this it's education. And so it took me a while to kind of sift through what's education, what's entertainment, and what's instruction. And I really needed the instruction, so I joined a real estate brokerage and just kind of did that and fell into being a real estate agent. And then when you're young and you make six figures, you feel like it's $1 million,
Yeah. Your
and
world right there.
so I opened up my own brokerage. I went and I wanted to, Grant Cardone 10x it, and I wanted to go crazy, which was the dumbest idea of all time because I just didn't have the skills to be able to do that. And I got a big 9,000 square foot office, and I opened up a brokerage, and I recruited a bunch of agents, and I was feeling great. And then 2008 hit, and the economic world melted,
Yes.
and I wasn't in a position to take advantage of that because I wasn't taking money home from my business. I was pouring it all back into the business, which is a huge mistake. And I can touch on that later. But
Okay.
I wasn't taking money home. So I couldn't take advantage of all the incredible opportunities to buy the real estate when they were at like the bottom.
Mm.
And I had signed a personal guarantee on an office lease for this office for 10 years, the
Ooh,
equivalent of $740,000 worth of rent.
right.
And
Were you tripping out?
the
Were
funny
you
thing is when you don't pay an office lease, they sue you.
Oh
They
god.
sued me. So I had a $742,000 judgment. I was 27 years old. I went through a divorce. It was a rough time. I was then living in like a bedroom at my buddy's house at 28,
Mm,
right? Feeling totally defeated. And I had to scratch and claw my way out. And it took a couple years to kind of get over the hangover of all of those emotions and of all that failure and of all the, not being able to know how to deal with it.
yeah.
And then I realized that if I just go out and knock on doors in neighborhoods, I could see if people want to sell their properties, and I could sell it to my investor buyers, because
Yeah.
investor buyers were everywhere here in Phoenix, right? I mean, the prices were fantastic. So I started doing that. And then I realized one day I got a phone number and a phone number and a name for a property owner that lived in New York. The property was vacant, but the caretaker lived 4 houses down. She gave me the information. I called up the gal and I got my first deal.
Mhm.
And I got the first deal. I went to my buyer and I said, "Hey, listen, if I can get you this property at 150,000, will you pay me 3%?" He goes, "Yeah, no problem."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Great." So we go to the closing. He's not closing it. His buddy is. It
Mm.
shows him making $30,000.
Yep. Yep.
And I go, what's happening here? What's going on with this deal? Are you buying it or are you not? He goes, no, 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 I sold it. And I go, what do you mean you sold it? Like, you don't even own the property. How do you sell something that you don't own? He goes, no,
Right.
I sold the contract. And
Oh,
I was like,
you're like, "Let's go."
um okay, you can sell a contract. And he's like, yeah. And then I did two more deals with him, three total, for $92,000 worth of assignment fees that he got. I got
Mm.
3% on each of them, so I made like 12 or 15,000, I don't remember.
Those are some
And
spreads right there.
but it was my education into, this is what wholesaling is. And
Mm.
once I realized what wholesaling is, and my natural risk aversion, because I didn't want to lose everything again doing flips or doing rentals or doing all these other things. By the way, I foreclosed on 5 properties, had
Mhm.
2 cars repoed. I don't know if you've ever had a car repo, but it's wildly embarrassing when they come and find your car and just take it from you,
No
right?
way.
And so, like, all of these things. So I'm risk averse. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want to get too risky, but I want to make a bunch of money. How do I do that? It's
Okay.
called wholesaling.
Yeah,
It's
love it.
called wholesaling. And
Mhm.
so now I built a business and have grown a business. And it started with just me and a partner, Dustin, who's incredible. We split ways in 2018. He's got an incredible business and I've got an incredible business. And now I work 5 hours in the business. Last year we did 1.7 million. This year we're on track for about 1.5, which is a little bit down, but the
That's
shift as of June 15th affected us big time.
yes.
But we're still at 55% profitability. And so you
Amazing.
really look at this thing and you realize that maybe, I mean, owning real estate and getting passive income is fantastic.
Mhm.
Getting passive income on a scale like that in a business that you created is so much better. Oh my gosh. I mean, people, the old saying from like Andrew Carnegie, from like way long ago, was like 90% of millionaires are in America are made from real estate. Yeah, in
Right,
1930, bro.
right,
Like, now it's
exactly.
from business. Like,
Mhm.
don't get it twisted. It's absolutely from business. But you take that cash flow and you put it into real estate for preservation,
Mhm.
not speculation. So
Right.
then you actually get to keep the money that you made, which is
Exactly.
fantastic. And so I think that that's the smarter plan. I think if you go after ugly houses, get big checks, create a business to be able to do that on a consistent basis, pull yourself out of that so that you can focus on finding the best deals that you want to work with and spend time with the family, coach people in real estate, lend money, do the other things that you want to do that feeds your soul, really brings joy to you. That's like the best. That's the
Yeah.
best position to be in. And you don't get there unless you build a real foundation of going out there and talking to a lot of people. And by the way, Nathan, what I didn't mention in there is
Mhm.
45,000 conversations I've had personally with property owners.
Wow.
Okay. Like, I
That's
cold
amazing.
called 3 hours a day, 9 to noon every day for 7 years. Okay. Like, just going and going and going and going and going and going. I had to crawl out of that hole. I had to pay
Mhm.
off that judgment. Right.
Yes.
I had to clear up my credit. That was like the lowest that it could possibly be. I had to do all those things. I had to pay back a lot of other things. And I'm telling you, like, there's no skipping the hard work part of it. There's no skipping the building skills part of it. There's no skipping
Right.
being in the dirt, chopping wood, carrying water part of this business. There's not. And anybody that tells you that there is just selling you something.
Yeah, and hey, that is an incredible story, and that's why I wanted to do this because I had no idea you went through that, right? Because a lot of people, when they look at success or they see somebody, they see the end product or what's going on now. They didn't see you going through all that trial, right? That's amazing. Did looking back, are you grateful that you went through kind of that, or do you wish you didn't have to go through that? I know that's a tricky
Um,
question because I know there's the divorce, but I guess yeah,
There,
my
there's the Greek philosopher, and I love this. Seneca talks about, don't stumble on things you've already walked past. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, don't trip on your past. Don't think, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, honestly.
Don't really
Nathan,
think about
do
it.
I wish it happened? Probably not, if I'm being honest. Do I
Right.
wish it would have just been dope and I would have been like, you know, 10 times the net worth by now? Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think that everybody goes through this type of thing at one point or another. I think
right,
if you're building it yourself, I think if you come from a family or if you come from a community that protects you and really understands and keeps you, you know, on the path, that prevents a lot of that from happening.
mhm,
But I think that at least my ego had to get crushed for me to be where I'm at now. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
for sure, yeah,
so, but
and I know
I don't trip on the stuff that I'm already past.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I know it's a
So,
tough question, but at the same time, like you're a different person because of it, right? Like you
oh
can
yeah.
handle adversity, and so kind of tell me, when did you start getting into helping others? Like, was that always something that you had in mind that you wanted to do? Is that always something you did along the way, or was there a point where you're like, look, it's time to give? Because I know I talked to Brandon Simmons, I talked to a lot of people. You were Tom Kroll, you were a big go giver, right? So
Yeah.
was this a moment in your life, or was this something you always did?
It's so fulfilling. You know what I mean? Like, here's how I look at it. And I think about a family reunion, right? I went to a family reunion in Chicago
Mhm.
and I'm there and nobody cares what I do. They love me and they you know, and they remember me growing up and they remember all these things, but nobody has interest in real estate.
Right.
Nobody has interest in what I'm doing. They're not knocking on my, you know what I mean? So the people that are, the people that come into my world that are similar to me, that have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, that it's
Mhm.
changed them. Like, to me, I feel like we're on the same frequency. You know what I mean? It sounds kind of
Right.
weird and hokey or whatever else, but I really do. So it's like, okay, there's somebody that's on the same frequency as you. They're interested in this. They're obsessed with the same things you are. Like, let's connect. Like, let's all like let's go fast. Let's go really far with this thing, as far as we can. So I think that thing really, I think it's just it's natural. It just has to come out. You
Okay.
know what I mean? And I always had coaches. I've always had coaches. Again, from a childhood of playing sports and growing up, I always wanted to be a coach. I always thought that was incredible. I always had a lot of respect and love for the coaches that I had, and they changed me. So I, you know, that was always something that was interesting.
Awesome.
And
So
so I got the best of both worlds. I get to talk about the thing that I absolutely love, and I got to be around people that love it too.
yeah.
So it's like, you know what I mean? You and I could sit down, we could talk for, you know, 3 weeks
Mm,
and not take a breath.
for
You know
sure.
what I mean? Like, that's incredible. You don't that there's not a lot of people in your life that you can do that with. And when you find a tribe of people that you can do that with, you got to pour into it as much as you can.
You know, and one thing I really loved about meeting you and chatting with you is the amount of support that your coaching gives. It's amazing because I've
Yeah.
done coaching left and right since I started too, because I enjoy it. I always look at like what can I give, and also, you know, the community, right? And you showed me what your community gets, and it's honestly absolutely mind blowing what
It's
they get.
bananas. Yeah.
It's bananas. Was there a point where you were like, "Hey, let's turn this thing up full notch and give as much support," or was it always like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always given out my phone number to anybody that's in my coaching. I always have a personal relationship with everybody that's in there, and that might sound crazy, but it's the truth. But the what I found is, you know, we test things, and it's like, do you want to work one on one with Brent? Okay, great. You get this response. Do you
Mhm.
want to join the most proactive community in real estate investing?
Yeah, it's pretty
People
cool.
want to belong to a tribe, and I think that it's
Mhm.
important to. I do.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, the thought of doing this like in your house with like alone,
yeah,
it's impossible. I think it's impossible. It would be impossible for me. It
yeah.
would be impossible for me to be able to just sit there and just do it alone. I'd have to be around other people doing it. And I think that that's the reason why I had business partners early on, is
Right.
because I needed that. But the fact about business partners is it never lasts. It just never lasts.
I just
You
found
grow up,
that out.
somebody ends up doing a majority of the hunting, and the other people do the gathering. But you find out that the hunting is really where the money's made. The gathering is just transaction. The gathering is something that you could hire somebody for
Right.
$20 an hour. So yeah, so I think that, just having a community of people that aren't like taking a slice of your deal, but they're like involved, unless you do some sort of, joint venture or partnership type of agreement with them. But
Right.
for the most part, we're like, hey, go out and sell your own deal, make all your money, like keep all the money that you can. We'll support you along the way.
I love it.
And it's been incredible.
Yeah, I love it. And
Yeah.
about the business partner thing, also started a business partner what I love, and but recently we just split just because it's like, look, we've come to a point where we were supporting each other when we were noobs, but now we've come to a point where we don't really need each other.
Right.
And the split was it was easy, right? But it is interesting that Tom Kroll, I talked to you about it. It's like business partnerships, they don't last. When I started mine, I thought it was going to be forever,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It's interesting how it works that way. So the community is almost like a business partnership, but you're not giving away 50% of your deal
It's even better. It's even better because I mean, one person cheerleading for you is phenomenal, and really, you only need one.
Mhm.
But when you have hundreds
Yeah,
cheering for your success, helping you out, supporting you, responding, like being around you, that it just changes. It gives you more confidence, and I think that once you have that confidence, and then you just pour in the action on top of it, you can't lose. You literally can't lose. If you
exactly.
talk to enough people with confidence about selling their property, you're going to win massively,
Right.
massively, and quickly. I mean, relatively quickly. You know what I mean? As opposed to other businesses. So
Exactly.
it's great.
Well, Brent, I mean, like you said, we could be talking for 3 weeks, but I've had an awesome time chatting with you. And I really appreciate you letting me come into your community and trusting me in order to be able to kind of give back a little bit. So thank you for that. And I do have some people as we are live. They have some questions. Can I
Yeah,
ask a question?
let's do it.
So I got Michelle here saying she's happy that she caught this live and she's brand new to wholesaling and she has not done her first deal yet. What is your recommendation for the people watching this that are in analysis? Not saying she's in analysis paralysis, but that might be just watching, learning. What would you
Yep.
say? Hey, what's the action they need to take in order to get their first deal?
Go out, find the 100 ugliest properties that are around your house. For real. The 100 ugliest properties. Go to batchskiptracing.com
Hmm.
and plug them in and get the phone numbers for those people and then call them up. And if you don't know what to say, we have everything, every resource you could possibly want at TTP Insider, like talk to people, ttpinsider.com. Download that so that you have, the scaffolding of the conversation, the skeleton of the conversation, and then you're going to feel confident and then just call them up and then just start having those conversations. But it starts with you need to step out of the comfort zone and make a call to somebody. And if you're not comfortable with that, find somebody in your market that you could squad up with, and then you call one person, I'll call one person. You call, you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden that's like, okay, if somebody's doing it with me, it's a little bit easier. Michelle, I'm sure that you're gangster. You could just pick up the phone and call anybody, but I'm talking to anybody else that like has some apprehension on picking up the phone, and that phone feels like it's 400 pounds, and you're just kind of like, oh man, I'm so scared that they're going to reject me, or they're going to be mean, or they're going to be mad, or whatever else. Remember, your vocal first impression matters, and you need that to be kind and certain.
Hmm.
Certainty and kindness when you call somebody helps relieve some of that, like, nervousness, and your vocal first impression will be more powerful, and more people will respond to it favorably.
Yeah, I love it. And Brent, what I love doing, so I go live, like I was telling you, I go live every day in my Facebook group.
Yeah,
I like calling people and then having everyone watch and being critiqued, right? Because I'm not perfect. I believe I'm really good on the phone, but it's kind of fun to do it while people are watching because it's like you got a support group, right? And so it's a win-win for I feel like people in the group, my Facebook group. It's just like, hey, come hear how it sounds, and I'm not alone. And I've gotten rocked a couple times live where people I don't, I get flustered a little bit.
sure.
Somebody hits me with I'm talking to an agent and they're like, I ain't trying to work with you, and but it's fun. And that I agree with you 100%. You need to get around a community that can kind of give you that when you're down and out, maybe feeling down, you
Yep.
got some people to
Well,
support you.
people should be making calls while you're making calls. That's the key.
Right.
Make the calls while he's making the calls, and boom, you feel like you're in it, right? It's all mental. It doesn't really change what the other person on the other end is going to respond. So, but if mentally it gives you support that you're like, yes, I'm going to be able to call while Nathan's calling and we're going to do this and I'm going to comment that I got a lead. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So Brent, someone's asking, what's the site again to search houses? I think he must be whoever says this
The,
is about skip tracing. So
batch skiptracing.com. You can, I mean, if you have the budget of I think their lowest tier is $100, but batchleads.io.
mhm.
Do you have a affiliate for that?
I do, but
Yeah.
you can throw your plug in. It doesn't matter if you.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Let them know.
I can just put it in the link.
Okay,
For this
perfect.
podcast, yeah.
Yeah. So Nathan will put it in the link there. Just go to that site. You could pull your lists. You could pull all the comparables. You could find out if it's vacant or occupied. You can find out how long they've owned it. You can understand how much they owe in that property.
That's
You can
amazing.
look at, all the cash buyers that are working in that area. I mean, truly, it's the most powerful tool that we have in real estate is batch leads.
Yeah.
So I would check that out.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's a must-have for anybody that's really serious and really wants to go out there and find fantastic deals.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yep.
And it's really cool. They've upgraded it where you can drive for dollars and
Oh,
through it. And
you could drive for dollars through Google Maps, find an ugly house, press a button, and the phone number's right there. And you could press another button, and with 2 clicks, and it's calling them.
yeah.
It's calling them,
Yeah. And
and you
guys,
could just have a conversation with them on your Bluetooth through your computer.
and it's
Bananas.
exciting. Yeah, it's exciting and it's fun, right? Like let's talk to someone that has a property that looks distressed. We can ask them about it. If they're like, hey, no, don't call me. I like my house the way it is. Great, on to the next, right?
Yeah.
No problem. Cool. Well, Brent, you've dropped a lot of golden nuggets for us. You've helped out a lot of people, and I've got a lot of people saying thank you. Do you have one golden nugget you want to leave with people before we end? Anything you want to say that you feel like you want to leave people with?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it all comes down to talking to people, guys. I mean, there's no way around it. In this, if you want to build a long-lasting business, you got to put in the work, build the skills, and the skills come from the action. Remember, a lot of people get stuck in education, and people think that education plus action equals results. That is the wrong equation. All
Mhm.
right. It is the results. I'm sorry, the action plus the results equals your education. Seriously, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Getting stuck in the education loop does not provide value. It might make you feel good, but it's not going to make you profitable. You have to go out there. And that's why I say the dumbest people make the most money in this business. And what I mean by that is this isn't theory to them.
Yeah.
This is real life. This is going out. This isn't being a professor in a college. This is being out in the streets building a real business, right? So don't get stuck in the education loop and just go out there and proactively talk to owners of properties, the owners of ugly properties. That's it. That's the whole business. Once you get that down, you're going to start, you're going to realize every single step in the process. And listen, there's enough content out there to walk you through every single part of a transaction, but it
Yes.
doesn't matter if you don't have a deal. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you don't have a lead. It doesn't matter if you don't have a prospect. So we all know that there's ugly properties out there. Go find them, go get their phone number, call them up, and that's how you build the skills. And that's all you got to focus on. Everything else doesn't matter. Learning the value of a property, it doesn't matter. That's easy. You could do that on one YouTube video. Easy.
50% of Zillow. Keep it as simple as
That's
that.
it. That's it. I mean, it all starts with building up your confidence and being able to go out there and effectively help people out that are in stress.
I
So
love it.
talk to people.
Yeah, and the thing that I have to say about that, about talking to people is like, if you look at anybody's business that's not successful, if you look at their KPIs and what their actions are, they're probably just not talking to enough people. That's what
That's it.
it comes down to, right? They're
That's
not
it.
doing enough, not enough action. Well,
That's
Brent,
it.
hey, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor to have you on here. Thanks for again letting me be inside the community and help out. And we'll catch you next time.
Awesome. Thank you, Nathan. It's an honor. I love all you guys. Go out there and find a deal. Talk to somebody. If you've never made a call today, call one person.
That's right. Let's do it. Yeah. And join my group if you want to see me call people, because I'll do it all day. Give me a number. I'll call them right now. All right, guys. Catch you later.
See ya.